One of these trials can reach over 80,000 points. Another one can waste hours of your time because of pure RNG. And with only 14 days left in the season, your rank is starting to matter a lot more than it did a few weeks ago. If you are still aiming for Cantina Legend, this is where things become hot and sweaty. Wait. Pun absolutely intended. Hello, YouTube. What's going on? These are the week 9 trials, and this week is all about knowing where to invest your time and where not to. We have damage flying arc enemies inside the spaceport walls, search arc probes, couriers, and assessors, search supply drops, damage leapers, and destroy pops. As always, we're going from the weakest trial to the strongest trial, so you know exactly where your time investment makes the most sense. I'll cover the best maps for solo strategies, but also for trios, a couple alternatives, and some important RNG traps that can ruin your otherwise good runs. Oh, one more thing before we start though. If you're still aiming for Cantina Legend, you need to beat Daredevil right now. If you're not there yet, you're running out of time very quickly because you need to be at least hotshot next week so you can get promoted into Cantina Legend. That being said, let's start with the weakest trial this week. The weakest trial this week is search supply drops. Even with the current antenna bugs, you're still looking at roughly 11 to 12,000 points. Best map is Buried City. Map conditions doesn't matter too much, although Bird City might have a slight advantage with the most reported bugged antennas. The biggest mistake players make here is not paying attention where their supply drops actually land. You can see the supply drop coming in with the parachute, but the game does not mark it once it's landed. So if you're not watching the sky carefully, you'll waste a lot of time searching for the drops that are already on the ground or missing them completely. The second thing that players don't know is that some antenna stations are currently bugged and can sometimes call in multiple supply drops in a row. If you find one of those stations, you can get significantly more value than intended, and you can tell because the light is still on top of the antenna, even though you already called it in. That being said, let's take a quick look at the map. All right, so on Buried City, there are 10 possible antenna spawns. Once you spawn in, just run to the nearest one and pay close attention to the sky, just so you see other supply drops being called in by the yellow flare. Basically, you just want to run to your nearest antenna, call in the supply drop, and while you wait for the supply drop, just have a look at the sky and check for other supply drops. Once your supply drop came in, make sure to open and loot it, but before you do that, check your antenna if it's still lit up. If it's still lit up, it means you can call another supply drop in with the same antenna. One more thing, this antenna right here used to be bugged. If you can't call that in, just so you know and be aware of it. All things considered though, compared to the stronger trials this week, this is not where your promotions will come from. The next trial is a little bit more difficult to rank because the best map isn't available right now. Normally, Blue Gate prospecting probes would be significantly stronger, just like Spaceport Electromagnetic Storm. Unfortunately, due to the current rotation as of recording of this video, your best available option is Dam on Electromagnetic Storm. The strategy is quite simple. Ignore most of the enemies. Your goal is not to clear the map. Your goal is to touch as many probes and couriers as possible. You don't have to fully loot them, just interact with them so that the animation starts and then you can tap out of it and move on. The biggest mistake player make is spending too much time completely looting the probe or courier. Every single second spent sorting the inventory is a second you're not reaching the next objective. Wolf packs can help remove larger arc enemies when they block your route, but they are not your main focus of this trial. At the moment on Dam EMS, realistic scores are probably somewhere around 15,000 points, although the exact ceiling is difficult to estimate because I don't think we've ever had this exact combination of trial map and map conditions before. But let's take a look at the map real quick. So this is the map of couriers and probes on Dam Battlegrounds. You basically want to ensure that you can have a clean rotation from your spawn point, let's assume it's this one, to the extract. Let's assume it's this one. In an optimal case, you are able to do one clean rotation and loot or tap into as many arc probes and couriers as possible. For this, you will need a lot of stims and one, maybe even two snap hooks, depending on the charges left on your snap hook. Make sure to look out for the smoke of the probes so you can find them a little bit easier. Not all of these probes shown here will spawn 100% of the time. This is just for you to get a general idea on where the probes are at. Next up is Damage Leapers. The best map would normally be Dam on Husk Graveyard. Since that's unavailable, your best option right now is Dam Night or Electromagnetic Storm. This trial can realistically reach around 20,000 points. For your loadout, you want to bring wolf packs to kill the leapers as fast as possible, a Jupiter or a hole cracker, whatever you prefer, and depending on your position and your playstyle. Me personally, I will probably even bring both, because one thing that many players don't realize is that nearby Rocketeer spawns can interfere with Leaper spawns. So if you're trying to maximize your score, make sure you're clearing the Rocketeers as well that spawn close to the Leaper spawns. There is also a bugged Leaper spawn near Testing Annex that can occasionally end up underneath the terrain. That happens, you might be losing a decent amount of potential score. There are ways around to kill it, but usually it ends up dying on his own. Fortunately though, Leaper spawns are otherwise relatively consistent, making this one a more reliable trial this week than, for example, the turbines last week. Let's take a look at the map real quick. So these are the potential Leaper spawns on them during Night Raid or Electromagnetic Storm. This Leaper will not spawn usually during Night or EMS. It's a day or I think Husk Graveyard spawn. You will have, though, the Leaper at Water Treatment, a Leaper around Red Lake's balcony, and one in the Red Lakes. Just as the last times, you want to put a zipline train from water treatment control to the top of research and administration. From there, you can not only see, but also pull the Leapers in water treatment and Red Lake's balcony. This is the reason why I'm bringing a Jupiter and a Hole Cracker, because the Hole Cracker is slightly better to kill the Leapers up close and personal. However, the Jupiter is better to pull them from further apart. Now, if you're trying to aim for the absolute highest score possible, you will need another zipline train from the research and admin building down to Red Lake's balcony and even further down into the Red Lakes, because it will take the Leaper too much time to jump to you. If you want to be fast, you have to go to the Leaper. Now we're getting into the trials that actually matter this week. Destroy pops can reach somewhere between 50 and 60,000 points, and even though there are rumors about Riven Tides on Day Raid being the best map, I personally think that Stellar Montes at night is still your best option. The reason is simple: no other map can offer a pop density and spawn rate as consistent as Stellar Montes does. For this trial, you want multiple zip lines and a fixed route. The biggest source of RNG is Atrium. Ideally, you want pops and fireballs spawning there. If Flying Arc or Shredders take over the area, the run loses value and may be worth resetting. Compared to many other trials this week, however, this is still one of the most reliable ways to gain large amount of points. So let's take a look at the map and the rotation real quick. For this route, you're gonna start in Atrium. As I said, you definitely want pop spawns in Atrium for your highest score. Clear Atrium and communications. Go down to Cultural Archives, clear Archives. From Archives, you want to rotate through Business Center to Lobby. Clear the pops in Lobby and take the staircase to Lobby Metro. In Lobby Metro, put a zipline to the other side, clear the pops, and drop down to the tunnel of Assembly. In Assembly, you want to put 2 more ziplines so you can clear the pops in the entirety of Assembly. Take a peek into the medical research wing if you have pops there. If not, just take the corridor back towards robotics and sand. Drop down into Sandbox. Clear Sandbox, but make sure to clear the 2 top rooms in Sandbox as well before you rotate back to Atrium. If you are playing solo, 25 to even 36,000 points are doable on this. And finally, by a massive margin and the strongest trial this week, damage Flying Arc enemies inside the spaceport walls. This trial can reach around 80,000 points. Solo players can realistically achieve over 50,000. The best maps are Spaceport, Close Scrutiny, and Hidden Bunker. While Close Scrutiny is especially strong for solo players because of the Assessors continuously spawning Vaporizers and Rocketeers, and since larger Flying Arc enemies are worth significantly more points than the smaller ones, those extra spawns become incredibly valuable. valuable. Hidden Bunker is also excellent, especially for trios because of the additional 10 minutes of raid time. If you're doing this in a trio, you want to bring a lot of snitch scanners as well. If you're doing this solo on Close Scrutiny, for example, you want a lot of wolf packs, zip lines, and a Jupiter because everything flying counts. Spotters, vaporizers, rocketeers, wasps, hornets, fireflies, even the snitches. That being said, bigger arc enemies provide significantly better value, so your priority should always be the larger targets first. If you're serious about ranking up before the season ends, this is the trial that should receive most of your attention this week. So to summarize, search supply drops is worth around 12,000 points. Flying arc enemies can reach 80,000 points. That's an enormous gap. With only 14 days left in the season, efficiency matters more than ever. If your goal is Hotshot or even Cantina Legend, prioritize flying arc enemies and destroy pops. Those are the trials that will gain you the most points. Let me know down in the comments what your current rank is and which trial you're struggling the most this week. I then might be uploading a full run about it. If this guide helped you out, I appreciate a like and a subscribe. I post Arc Raider trials, guides, solo runs, ranking strategies, and stuff like that every week. Good luck in your trials, and I'll catch you topside.